All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fannon, and in this video, we are going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis, Hector Garcia, and pay-per-view numbers. And I have to do a correction on a video or a clarification on a video that I did earlier where I speculated about where the source of some numbers could have been. And now I've been informed that that is not correct. So let's talk about it in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fannon, and in this video, I want to talk about the pay-per-view numbers that had come out for Gervonta Tank Davis and Hector Garcia, and a video that I had done maybe about 3 or 4 days ago after Dan Rafael and Al Dawson had released information from sources close to the fight about the pay-per-view numbers and some conclusions that I drew or suspicions that I have, which has now been verified not to be true. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, thank you so much to the supporters of the channel. I greatly, greatly appreciate your continued support. So first and foremost, let me extend an apology to Leonard Ellerby, because I didn't draw a conclusion, but I did something in a video where I had suspected where some numbers had come from, but Leonard Ellerby watched my video and sent me a note and said, look, man, what you said is not true. I would not hate on Gervonta Tank Davis. We're cool. And that's the case. So, he said at the end of it, said, don't listen to the haters. So I want to say, first and foremost, my apologies to Leonard Ellerby. I didn't make an assumption, but I was just thinking, man, where would these numbers come from? And are these the real numbers? Because I know that Leonard Ellerby has a relationship and is verified or co-signed on things that Dan Rafael had said before, and also what Alan Dawson had done before. So I put more faith into those numbers. And then I speculated and I said, well, maybe the numbers were a little bit lower because Gervonta is not with Leonard Ellerby. And to be honest with you, I think that is I was obviously being unfair, because Leonard Ellerby again responded to me on Twitter and said, look, man, that is not true. So I responded to Leonard Ellerby and said, look, man, I will take that video down, and I'll also do a video where I'm very, very clear about exactly what it is that you said with me. So anybody that listened to my opinion about that matter does not believe that my suspicions were true. Now, I do want to be clear that I never said anybody told me that. What I said was, man, this kind of seems like this is the type of number that you would get from Leonard Ellerby or somebody that has access to the numbers. And I believe that Alan Dawson would believe that those numbers that Alan Dawson had those connections, and so did Dan Rafael. So with that said, though, what does that mean about the numbers that are out so far? And again, man, Leonard Ellerby, like I said, if you watch this video, if somebody sends you the video, my apologies, brother, man. I did not want to make you look bad. Don't mean to ever say a bad word about you, because I definitely think that you are a very, very quality individual. And so let me clear that up. Now, moving into the rest of the discussion that I had, though, about the numbers, is that I don't really know if any of these numbers are accurate. And you have people that are continually saying that Gervonta Davis's pay-per-view numbers are not successful. You had the 61,000 or whatever that came out. Then you have the numbers that 400,000 that came out, where the PBC, this guy named Ron Katz, said those numbers were a little more close to being accurate. And then you have Dan Rafael and Alan Dawson saying, no, the numbers are going to be in the 200 to 215,000 range. But now that we know that Leonard Ellerby, or at least the person that I knew that would actually have access and knew those numbers, is not the source of that, for me, it goes right back to where we were before then. How do we know what any of these numbers are whether these numbers are real or not? And this was another, according to Leonard Ellerby, another successful pay-per-view. So how do we actually gauge how successful Gervonta Davis was in that particular event? And it is that this is how you do it. look at the gate and look at the gate alone. Because again, 161K is ridiculous. 350 can't be verified. And the number that Dan Rayfield and Alan Dawson came from is now not even to be certified. It has not been certified by the person that I thought it could have come from, right? So at the end of the day, man, Gervonta Davis is a very, very successful fighter and deserves the credit that he gets for the pay-per-views that he sells and the gates that we actually know took place. But again, like I said, man, I am not a boxing journalist, and I want to be really clear. That's why I continue to say this. I am not a boxing journalist. I am a boxing fan, and to a certain extent on time, you know, in this case or in that case, I may actually speculate about what I think could have happened. And in that particular video, I was speculating, and I said in the video that I was speculating about where the source could be. But now that it has been verified by Leonard Ellerby directly that is not the case, then I got to come out and say that's the case and correct the record. And I would hope also that anybody else that would speculate about what the outcomes are to things, and though that information gets out there, that you wouldn't just stick with what you said and not correct yourself on the record. That if you say something in a video that winds up not being the case, you can take that video down, or you can acknowledge in another video that wasn't the case. But again, the result of this for me is, and it is a little bit embarrassing because, you know, you never want to get put in those situations. But look, man, I'm not perfect. And I'll admit when I was off, and Leonard Ellerby, having seen that on a video that I did and feeling like he was mistreated or misrepresented is not something I want to do to anybody else, especially like somebody like Leonard Ellerby, who really and truly I have a ton of respect for and have never said a negative word about. I would just hope that people would also do the same thing when they report things about Errol Spence, or they report things about Al Heyman, or report things about Gary Russell or anybody else, you know, that is a boxer, is providing, is earning a living in what they do, and you find out with what has been said is not true, you can actually correct that. But at the end of the day, man, I'm happy, and thank you to Leonard Ellerby for letting me know that I was incorrect, and in a way that I, admittedly don't feel the most comfortable with. But again, like I said, man, you just got to be honest when it's time is honest. The assumption that I made about Leonard Ellerby was incorrect. And once he corrected it, I'm duty bound to come out and say, look, man, that's my bad. I apologize for that. I don't have his DM, or maybe I'll DM and say, hey, man, if there's something that I think, can I DM you and ask you ahead of time whether this is true or not? And also this, again, to remind people, this is not the first time that this has happened. I said something where I mistook something that Derek James had said. I misinterpreted what he had said about, his prediction for a Canelo Alvarez fight. And I did the same thing, took the video down and issued an apology and a correction to the subscribers and the people that listen to me about what the facts are now that I got the actual correct facts. So anyway, with that, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Leonard Ellerby reaching out. Thank y'all. Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.